Hello, hello, hello. How are you doing today? I have a super special friend slash guest on the show today who's talking about something we've never talked about before, which is two pieces. One of them will be intermittent fasting, which I think is something that everyone should have more knowledge about because, well, I'm going to let Heike tell you about why. And then Pilates, because I can tell you when I've done Pilates in my life, it's made, well, it's just made my body feel better. So listen in. You're going to enjoy today's show. Hi, Kay. Thank you so much for being here today. How are you doing?
Kelly, thank you so much for having me. I'm doing great. I'm playing a little bit hooky today. I don't feel like working. So actually, I'm ending up talking to all my friends today instead.
That's brilliant. Actually, when we're done today, I'm stopping. I just thought, you know what? I don't feel like working today either. So done.
I know, right?
Yes. So tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and wow, why everyone should be listening, because I think this is a super important one.
Well, I'm Heike Yates and I'm originally born in Germany. That's why the funny name. But I've been in the US for over 35 years and I've been a nutrition, fitness, and mindset coach for almost 35 years as well.
Wow.
And I've been teaching Pilates for around 20 years. And then intermittent fasting came into my life about now 4 years ago. So I just turned 61. And I feel like, Ed, as we get older, we need to change our strategy a little bit. And especially my crew or my gang of women are empty nester moms. So anybody that had kids leave the house, is by herself, and is ready to rock their second half of life is my kind of person.
You're in the right place. I can tell you. We're the same age, and our crowd is going to be like the ones who are ready to rock all of this. Yeah. So tell me about, let's start with intermittent fasting. I mean, I've read about it. I do like my idea of what it is, but tell us why. Like, because a lot of times if I say intermittent fasting to somebody, it's like, oh no, I'm not fasting. But the truth is that it's not really fasting. It's just lowering your window of when you eat. So tell us how it works and why you should do it.
The reason I started intermittent fasting was what pushed me into exploring intermittent fasting more. And that was, I am a triathlete. So I run, I bike, I swim a lot. I'm a very active person. And I was training and I was eating right, and I kept gaining weight. That wasn't too bad. I had this through my training cycles before, that I gained weight, and I'm like, it's okay, you're in that training cycle. But I also got flabbier. I got fatter. I'm like, I could pinch an inch or two. And I was like, this has to go. This has never happened. And with my activity level, this
right.
shouldn't be this way.
Shouldn't be there.
And I know some women have said, I've tried diet after diet and nothing's happening. And that's almost like I felt. And I said, well, I'm always really a big skeptic of new things, air quote, new things.
Right,
And I
like all the
hadn't
special
heard,
diets. Yeah.
I hadn't heard of intermittent fasting. And like many women that hear intermittent fasting think starving,
Right.
not eating, only eating certain things. Keto diet is often associated with intermittent fasting, or not eating for days.
Right.
And I always said, when I started dabbling in intermittent fasting, I said, one thing I don't want to be is feel like I am getting a colonoscopy, which means you can't eat all day.
Right.
And not that you have to drink slimy drinks, but that unless I choose to do that, this is not how I envision intermittent fasting to be. So as I started dabbling, I kept reading more and learning more about intermittent fasting. And I said, well, let's just try it out and see what happens. And what it is just like you said, Kelly, you're choosing between eating windows and not eating or fasting windows. And you choose how long a fast is for you. And it is true, not every woman should fast. It's all depending on how the body responds, how your hormone levels are reacting, how you're reacting overall to a fast or an extended period of not eating. One of my friends said, I get hangry. And I said, well, how long do you fast? I'm like, I'm trying to push 18 hours. And I was like,
Whoa.
this is too long for you. This is
Right.
not good. If you feel hangry, then this is too long. And she's like, oh, I don't have to do what everybody says, the 9 to
Right.
18 or whatever they say. And I was like, no, fasting literally means a period of time that you choose when you don't eat. And it could be you finish your dinner at 7, which is always my classic example. You finish your dinner at 7 and you don't have a sneaky snack at 9. So you do whatever you do, and then you eat breakfast at 8. This is a fasting. You already fasted for 12 hours.
Right.
And was it hard? Probably not. But what it does, and which is, I think, the beauty of intermittent fasting, is you give your gut a rest. It digests all the food. It breaks down old cells that are no longer useful for your digestion
Interesting. Okay.
to help you digest better. And when you think of menopause, oh my God, how many times have I had bloating and really painful stomach, or then a diarrhea, or constipated, like many women are constipated, because they keep thinking, oh, if I eat every 3 hours, then, this will happen. If I eat a lot of fiber, this is going to happen, depending on what's going on, of course. And so I found that this was very helpful for my stomach and my overall well-being, that I just said, taking a break. I'm going to send my belly on vacation. And the interesting thing during that time too was that I was diagnosed with microscopic colitis, which is a whole different topic. But once I was diagnosed with colitis, intermittent fasting was super helpful and supportive of helping me with dealing with what I ended up having: constant diarrhea and a huge extended stomach, painful stomach for most of the time.
Wow. So
Fasting,
intermittent fasting stopped that.
yep, it was
Interesting.
part of it. I mean, I did get acupuncture as well. I didn't listen to my doctors of giving me Pepto-Bismol prescription strength. That was their
Sorry.
solution.
I know.
I'm like, really? That's all
Excuse
you got?
me.
And so, and what happened is the thing was, I lost weight, but I lost body fat, and many of the side effects of menopause and that feeling of bloating and whatever else goes with it started to be much far and few in between. And I'm a big fan too, is that you exercise in a fasted state, that you, like I used to do. I have to have glycogen. I have to have my breakfast. I have to have my pre-race meal. That now I usually work out in a fasted state, which means
Right.
I still have plenty of energy. I am not hungry. If I do long workouts that go over 2 hours, then I'll eat something before, usually a protein-rich meal. But other than that, I have plenty of energy. And the cool thing is, this approach burns body fat, which creeps up on us as we get older. And we're going like, seriously, come on now, body. Estrogen levels, come back to me.
So, okay, so you started doing this for two reasons. One, the body fat was piling on, and just no matter, and I get it, no matter what kind of a trainer or training you're doing, it does happen. And then the other reason was that you had this gut stuff going on that just wasn't working. So what was your window that you were working in? Like, you would eat in one time of period and not eat in one time period?
So I started initially just doing the sleep overnight and see how that actually works out and how this works for my lifestyle. So I had still 3 meals. I had a breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I eliminated snacks. As an athlete, you are always encouraged to eat every 3 hours,
Right.
because God
Right.
forbid you have no energy.
Exactly.
And so I had my 3 meals. And at first I was a little like, okay, I want my snack. But I was like, I don't need it. I'm not really hungry. I just made it a habit that I eat this way.
Yeah.
Then I said, this is going pretty good. 3 meals a day. All right. Okay. Let's make it a little longer. Do I really need to eat breakfast? I don't usually eat breakfast. Let's go wait a little bit. And so I said, okay, I'm going to have my lunch earlier. I eat lunch at 11 instead of usually I eat around 1, 12 to 1.
Mhm.
And I simply just extended the window and observed what happened to my body. And I said, oh, we're still good. We still have energy. Oh, we can do all these things. Oh, I'm hungry. And I always, you will find me always with a cup of tea in hand. It's herbal tea, whether it's hot outside or it's cold, because I continue to hydrate. So when I'm hungry, first I drink a little bit of my herbal tea, see
Mhm.
how things go. If I'm really feeling hungry, or I know I've exercised, I did a long workout, then I'll go, okay, I eat maybe a Greek yogurt or a hard-boiled egg, or I grab some chicken, whatever I can find, or some nuts, super simple. But I just extended my fasting window. And one of the things that I find too is when you're saying, talking about diets where you don't eat this and only eat that, and God forbid if you ate that, didn't happen. But the feeling of eating, wanting to eat cleaner is probably not the right word to use, but healthier.
Yeah, it just the choices suddenly change, don't they? It's
Yep.
like when you don't eat a bunch of sugar, like if you turn off that sugar increase, then the next day your desire is not for the crap, it's for, something that is healthier. And it's the
Healthier.
same thing, right?
And it's the same thing. I just like,
Yeah.
okay, I don't want this anymore. I'd rather have more. I'm a huge fan of avocado. Rather have avocado on my toast, or, whatever it is. It's just I felt that I wanted to eat better. Could it be that I said, oh, I only now have 2 meals and I want to have the most nutrient dense meals? Could be
Mhm.
two, but I just felt better, and it felt better on my body. And the idea of eating French fries, as we were just recently in Amsterdam, and I ate those double fried French fries, and I was like, I have to at least try them. I know it's not going to feel good afterwards, but they're supposed to be the best French fries. So I ate my French fries, and I was like, okay, so I don't have a lot of energy, but I didn't miss out. And that's
Right.
another thing I want people to understand is when you're intermittent fasting, you're not missing out on anything. Like on my travels, I ate what I wanted, but I also thought, okay, what are my goals health wise, body fat wise? Where do I want to be? Would I eat those French fries every day? No,
No, of course not.
no.
But you're not saying never again. I can never again have this or that or whatever. Because as soon as we do that, I mean, that little kid inside of us throws a temper tantrum, right?
Yep. And
So,
you go back and feel resentful and hate it.
yes,
And you're feeling like you're on a diet. And this is not what intermittent fasting is. It is not a diet. You choose your fasting hours, you choose the foods you eat, and you choose what I like, you choose health.
right, right. Yes. And just for everybody listening, Heike does have a really good gift for you. And we'll be talking about it at the end, but it is around intermittent fasting. And I can tell you, like, there's just so much science behind it that it's not just about getting rid of body fat. But it also, I don't think you had any joint pain, did you? Because I've heard from a lot of my people who have joint pain that they lower their joint pain once they start doing the intermittent fasting.
It could be. And since everybody is so individual, I always
Yeah,
say there is no guarantee that you lose weight. There's
right.
no guarantee that this and that is happening. But less inflammation, because you mentioned it earlier, Kelly, less sugar. You will crave less sugary foods or
Mhm.
less processed foods. And that reduces inflammation, not only in the gut, but in the body as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay, you're the queen of intermittent fasting, but you also are all about bringing in Pilates.
Oh my
So,
God.
tell us why you put those two together.
Pilates is just awesome. I'm just saying this.
You just should do it. That's the thing. So
Just
why?
do it. And I don't know who I was talking to recently, And she said, oh, I thought Pilates was only done on those expensive contraptions that you see on Instagram or wherever your social media is, and to see people do these really hard, complicated exercises that we can't wrap our head around, and saying, well, I'm fit at 60, but yeah, I don't want to do this because I have a little arthritis and my knees kind of are wonky. Pilates is really for everybody at any age. When I came across Pilates almost 20 years ago, I was teaching, actually at this point, aside from fitness and being a bodybuilder, I also taught yoga classes. When I came across Pilates, I found it straightforward, simple in its simplicity, very few principles, things that you can do. In the beginning, it's a little confusing because you talk about the breath and then the belly, navel to spine, and all this other stuff that people like, if I have to think of all of this, I don't move. I'm like, it'll get better. Just pick one.
Right.
But it is, when I think of the Pilates elders, as we like to call them, they were or are in their late 80s. They're still doing Pilates exercises because Pilates is about breathing. It's about the posture. It's about overall well-being. It's about circulation. It's about a strong core and movement that comes from the core. So if you have a strong core, which is everything but your head and your arms and your legs, so it's your buttski, your back muscles, your stomach muscles, all of that, your pec, your chest muscles, they work together as a unit to support everything you do. So if you're a walker, if you do it like gardening, your core is supporting all of this, and it's no impact. So none whatsoever. It's gentle. It can be done on anybody. And guys, I'll tell you, I've worked with children in Pilates. I have worked with people that have arthritis, osteoarthritis, or other bone-related scoliosis condition. I have worked with people that are amputees, that have missing limbs, or others that have been born with a birth defect. I work with women that are breast cancer survivors in Pilates. I work with people that were 600 pounds when they started Pilates.
Wow.
They can do Pilates, and it's gentle. And this is something you can learn and take into anything else you do. If you, for instance, like to lift weights, you're like, I go to the gym, why do I need Pilates? Pilates supports your weightlifting because it helps you with, like I said, breathing, posture, better alignment, and better form. And you will notice the difference. So here I am, the queen of Pilates.
So, okay, you said something that I'm still like digesting it in my brain. I thought you had to do Pilates on a machine too.
Right.
So,
that's what
tell me why that doesn't work. Tell me how you do it.
The Pilates, there's what's called the Pilates mat work. And the Pilates mat work is around 30 exercises that you do on a yoga mat or on the floor, on the carpet, doesn't matter. You don't need a yoga mat to do Pilates. But a space that looks like the size of a yoga mat, that's about the space you need. And you do all those 30 some exercises on the floor. Don't need anything. You can add, I like to add bands, and I like to add the magic circle and maybe a little ball. I'm a huge fan of the stability ball and things like that, but you don't need to, you can do it at home. And as my empty nester crew knows, you're traveling a lot. You can do Pilates in your hotel room with the grandkids running around if you have grandkids. You can do it wherever you are, and it doesn't have to take all day. If you do 2 or 3 exercises that you're like, okay, I know how to do those 3 and start building on those exercises. And it's also the feeling of feeling energized afterwards rather than beaten to the pulp with a high intensity class. I'm just amazing. And, I do Pilates about 2 times a week. I do strength training. I do all my things for my triathlons, swim, bike, run. And it's a combination and cross training. And I encourage everybody to look into at least giving Pilates a whirl. And it doesn't have to be on the machines. And
Interesting.
when we
Yeah.
look at the machines, Kelly, Joseph Pilates initially created 9 pieces of equipment. The one that we see most common is the reformer
Mhm.
and the Cadillac, and sometimes we see the chair, which looks like a little chair thing contraption. Don't have to have them. You can do all of this and still do Pilates. And you don't have to, if you've seen Pilates and you go, whoa, yeah, look at them. They're so flexible. Oh yeah, they're all this and that. You can do it no matter what size, what shape. You do not have to have core strength, and you do not have to be flexible to start Pilates, because Pilates enhances and gives you all of this. If one exercise builds strength, the next exercise usually focus on stretching the muscles you just worked, still engaging other muscles.
Okay. So that answered the question I was getting ready to ask, which is basically like if you're weight training and you're training for tries, now your Pilates is not just a strength, but it's also a lengthening, mobility, all of that stuff,
So
the stretching.
think about the clients I've worked with over the years that have scoliosis, which are the S curves in the spine, or
Right.
sometimes you have people that are really hunched over. And so you're thinking of lengthening the spine in the Pilates work, not flattening it out. We're still keeping the natural curvature of the lower back and the neck. But instead of letting the spine be like this, our work is using the resistance with bands or on the machines to bring the spine back into more balance and have the muscles say, okay, this side really pulls, this side really is relaxing. So we need to bring you back into an equilibrium that you're equally balanced throughout the body is one of our principles as well.
Wow. And you teach this.
Yeah, I love it. It's
Okay.
great.
Interesting. Yeah.
And
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited because now I've got something new to try.
And another thing I didn't mention, we talked about core strength right now, or as we're aging and as we're sitting more, especially after the pandemic, we're getting so many people with lower back pain. They're like, I've heard Pilates can help with this, and it does. So if you're suffering from low back pain, or you have something going on, it's like your back's achy, or you throw your back out frequently, number one, go see your doctor first and check out what it is. And then I would highly recommend that you look for a Pilates teacher, either online or you work with me, or somebody in your neighborhood that you in your city that you can go to, and they can teach you what it means to create a strong and stable core going forward as we age.
Okay. Last question about it. Does it help with bone strength?
Yes. Now,
Because it's somewhat strength training?
yes, it
Okay.
does not, and current research that I've come across, it does not increase bone density in the hips because we're not creating the impact like walking or hiking does.
Mhm.
But because of the resistance training that you have with the bands or the springs, whatever it is you're using, even if you don't use any other tool but your body and use your own body weight, the bone density strength has shown in the spine.
Nice.
Also very beneficial. So we can't affect the hip with it because we're not creating that impact, but we can affect the strength in the spinal cord up and down the back to improve bone density. If you've lost bone density, nothing will bring back the bone density that you had. But if you are on supplements and all the kinds of things, this is a different topic, but you can slow down the deterioration of the bone through Pilates.
Nice. So okay, I keep saying last question. One more question. Balance. Does it help with balance?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Okay.
Absolutely. Pilates, and when you see Pilates, it is oftentimes done just lying down. You see people usually lying down or on their side, and which is true. But as Pilates has progressed in a more modern fashion, we're now teaching Pilates oftentimes or include standing exercises. And that's not necessarily standing on one leg, that we're using light weights to do standing Pilates work. We're incorporating, like from my point of view, also as a fitness coach, I always do, yes, I do a single leg something with a magic circle in the hand. But the principle of balance are the same that I coach, whether you're lying down, you're lying on your side, or you're standing up. It's an aligned spine, cores engaged, balanced on both feet. And I love to say, wear your crown to stand up tall.
Right. Or for those of us who grew up with parents who were like, put the book on your head and walk carefully.
Yep.
Yes.
I like the crown. It looks a little bit more glamorous.
It's so much nicer. Like, I always was like that kid with books on my head going, Mom, seriously? She was a little tough, but she was amazing. So, we need to wrap up because I know you're a very busy woman, and I want to say thank you so much for being here. Tell us a little bit about the gift that you have for the listeners.
So if you're interested in intermittent fasting, I got the ultimate intermittent fasting cheat sheet for you, where I go a little bit more into the details of how you, if you're interested, can start intermittent fasting in a non-intimidating way. So it's very simple. It builds one step on top of the other, and it's very easy to digest, but it gives you a little bit more than what I was able to tell you today. And you can get it at heikeyates.com.
Awesome. And of course, we will have this in the show notes and a link to that, a link to your website, a link to your Instagram, which is amazing, and all the other things that you're up to. So thank you so much for being here today with us. I really, really appreciate you taking the time out to do this.
Oh, thank you, Kelly. And thanks for everybody that's listening. We love you.
We do. Thank you so much. And I will talk to you a little later.